Ladies and gentlemen, we've got many different tweets to look at here today, with Donald Trump trolling Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries yesterday with the Trump hats in the Oval Office. We're going to go through that. We've also got some other really good clips from Trump over the past few days. It's like 10 different tweets in total, and so I'm going to go through everything, and it should be a fun time. But we do have the government shutdown, with Republicans blaming Democrats, Democrats blaming Republicans because of the filibuster. 60 votes are needed to keep the government open. Of course, the Democrats are trying to use this, even with the minority, as leverage, considering right now in the Senate, Republicans have 53, Dems have 47. You need 60, so it is the Democrats, and of course, they are trying to negotiate. Republicans, Mike Johnson coming out saying, well, we finally got rid of the loopholes that enabled illegal immigrants to receive Medicare, Medicaid, and other benefits. We finally closed those with the big, beautiful bill, which was another entirely long process trying to get that passed. Now the Democrats are trying to use this leverage of a potential government shutdown if 7 Dems don't agree to keep the government open as a way to, seemingly an already solved, seemingly an already solved topic, which was not giving Medicare or Medicaid for illegals. Apparently they want that. And then they say, well, illegals aren't allowed to get it. But that's the problem. There's loopholes, there's workarounds. That's why Republicans had to put in the big, beautiful bill the verbiage of eliminating those specific loopholes that allowed them to get it. Now the Dems seemingly want it back, and they're playing dumb. Like, oh, you've got the majority in the House and in the Senate, so it's not our fault the government shutdown is happening. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if we had 60, you could say it's our fault. We have 53. We don't have 60. We need 60. So you've got this. Chuck Schumer just got, this.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name? Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Oh,
Senator Schumer,
well, that's
can
convenient.
You hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer.
That's convenient. That's just funny there. Yeah, so Trump, you saw Hegseth. Hegseth yesterday gave a speech about military standards and people trying to parse through it. Liberals like, well, he's being ableist. He's being mean. Because Pete Hegseth said, well, the generals should not be fat. It sets a bad standard, and we need people in shape. It makes total sense when it comes to being able to perform tasks militarily. You need people that are of, able body. And so Hegseth gave a big speech about it to a bunch of the generals. And this is Trump.
This time. So I'm going over, I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire him right on the spot.
If I don't like someone, I'm going to fire him right on the spot, and then just walks away. Yeah, then you've got Trump. He does this every now and then. He'll tweet out a little meme on X, and he also posts it on his Truth Social. He'll just post a little funny meme, a lighthearted thing, and now you've got Hakeem Jeffries and others saying it's racist, and you can see what this is.
And Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me.
This dude is just the epitome of soy. You could listen to him try and be stern. It sounds so ridiculous.
Don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. Yeah. When I'm back in the Oval Office,
the video's playing.
Say it to my face. Say it to my face. Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So that's a video that Trump. Do you see the one, the Chris Christie, the sumo wrestler? They bring Chris Christie in against Pritzker. Really, Chris Christie catching a stray? He tweeted out that like a month ago, though. This is them reacting to the AI video.
That's right.
Look at these NPC and the bots in the background.
After a meeting where you're supposed to be working out details, where you're supposed to be negotiating a deal, you post something that draws a sombrero and a mustache on the leader with whom you're supposed to be. That's right. And then,
but like, look at these people in the background. You just gotta like, these are just NPC bots, like trained to just. I mean, these are literal bots. Just look at the people in the background. Oh man. It's just revealed that during President Trump's meeting with Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in the Oval Office, Trump tried to give them Trump 2028 hats and they declined. Yeah, well, there was a photo with the hats on the table with like a Diet Coke and Jeffries and Schumer. And now you've got Maxine Waters getting involved.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, Americans...
Excuse me, stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan...
By reopening the loophole for illegals to get the free health care? What if she responded with that?
Agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to
yes.
save lives. We want to make sure.
And so that's the whole point. She says yes, and that's why they're doing this. They finally were able to negotiate out all of these loopholes. Because remember, it was the same argument, but now Waters is admitting it. The same argument. Well, it's impossible. It says it. If you're illegal, if you're not a citizen, you can't receive, free health care and all this. Well, there's obviously loop arounds to it under certain conditions, temporary visas, all of it. Liberals know that. They play dumb, and then they say, well, it says you can't get it. Well, obviously you can. Why would we be negotiating it out in the big, beautiful bill? We finally negotiated out with the majority in the House and in the Senate. And then 4 months later, they're trying to use the leverage of a government shutdown to add it back in.
That health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good.
Well, emergency care is different than just normal, standard, free health care, which is the loophole in which they're trying to close.
With a government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens.
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just asking.
No, that's actually the definition of what you're doing. If you're prioritizing both non-citizens and citizens, the citizens will obviously be disenfranchised because it costs money to give free healthcare to the non-citizens. So then the citizens don't receive as good of healthcare. So that's exactly what they are doing.
Divisive. No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask that question. You're just trying to get controversy here. You're not going to get it from me. We want to save health care for all people. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're not going to get the controversy from me as she self-combusts and screams into the microphone. This is the photo. This is Vance responding to it. There's the photo. There's Mike Johnson. There's Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, the Trump 2028.
The Trump trolling him with 28 hats.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. That's the most important part. There are also the Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the majority or the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable. But look, it was the four of them plus me and the president, and we were having a very good discussion about health care policy. But the president finally sort of threw up his hands and said, guys, let's absolutely work on this health care policy disagreement. We want to fix this issue for the American people, but we're not going to be taken hostage. We're not going to...
The Trump troll.
And then you've got this Ilhan Omar. The idea, actually, I'll just play this.
And so the idea that this is a white nation that needs to be preserved is a fascinatingly disgusting view, because this country is one for the many.
And so it's like, is it even worth responding? Is it even worth discussing? The United States was 90% Caucasian until 1965. The Founding Fathers put in the 1790 Naturalization Act, which basically only allowed for Europeans to be legal citizens. Every U.S. president outside of Obama was white. All the Founding Fathers were white men. All the people within our government, virtually all of them, were white men. It's like the country, I mean, it just makes no sense. And then they try and do this thing where it's like a melting pot. Well, the United States, up until 1965, it's a melting pot of a bunch of different white cultures. You've got Irish, you've got German, you've got British, you've got Italian, but it's 90% white until 1965. This stuff doesn't work. This whole idea of diversity in the United States, the thing is, it's so important people understand. When it comes to the argument of all of this immigration and allowing all of it and mass immigration is good, they base it off of a false history of the United States. They say the United States is a nation of immigrants, Western European immigrants. That's why the United States was able to be the #1 superpower within 200 years of declaring its independence. So you're talking about the immigration that we saw in the 1800s and the 1900s. It's a hell of a lot different than the immigration we're getting now. But understand, why do you think they lie about the history of the United States, the founding of the United States, why they don't want to give white people credit for it, so they can think they're trying to justify the mass immigration of today because they know it's so terrible. You take a look at the United States, we've brought in over 40 million immigrants in the second closest country within the past half century. So how do they justify that? Well, it's justified through the United States it's always been diverse. That's why we're so great. That's why we became such a superpower through diversity, right? It's completely wrong. It's just not true. It's not true at all. The United States, certainly after World War II, was dominant #1 superpower. That would be 1946, 1947. And the country was like 91% Caucasian. So this whole idea of it's just like the woman is lying. But it's like, is it even a point? Is there even a point to trying to dispel this? They don't care. Do Muslim countries have to become less Muslim? And by the way, the whole thing with, oh, it's the Native Americans' land first, you stole it. Well, then what's happening to all the European countries? By the way, that's a ridiculous argument because there were 5 million Native Americans in North America, but they get to claim all of North America. They get to have all of it because 5 million of them were here in the early 1500s. Okay. But look at what's happening to the European countries. They're getting destroyed. Those that, that is a native land for whites, and they're getting invaded with immigrants. When will Muslim countries have to become less Muslim? It's never going to happen, obviously. And I'm not saying it should happen, but I'm saying this is so ridiculous. It's a false premise. It's a false history of the United States and the United States, how it grew as a superpower. It's just not true. It's not accurate. And if you believe in this, oh, the United States was so much better than all the countries because of our diversity. What diversity is the diversity in the room with us? The United States was not a diverse country until I would say probably, in a modern sense, 30 or 40 years ago is when it started becoming more diverse. You could say, well, 1965, but it really started, in the 80s and 90s with the amnesty, and the mass immigration started and kicked up then. So, it's a complete revisionist history is what it is. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.